We got about a minute.
No, it says 6 now.
Oh, just looking up there.
When you're ready.
Just gotta turn a page.
Think about it.
I was enjoying working on it.
Ready?
Gina, you good? I'm ready. Yep, we're good.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Favdal,
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Trustee Leverett,
Here.
Treasurer Clee,
Present.
Trustee King,
Present.
Trustee Burt. Present. And Clerk Triplett, present. Thank you.
At this point, I don't think there's any additions or deletions to the agenda, right? Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of June 3rd. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from June 3rd signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium and give us your name. You don't have to give us your address, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm Supervisor, Flint Township Board. I was here, I don't know, a couple months maybe back, prior to me gallivanting around on the campaign trail. And now that we're getting closer to the August 6th primary, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things that I thought was interesting and how I think when I become your next county commissioner, how I think we can help Flint Township a little better. It's clearly and abundantly clear it's been ignored for far too many years. Number one, I've walked over 90 miles throughout Flint Township. I do have one little section of Flint Township just south of the Miller Road, Lennon Road area I need to go speak with. I knocked on nearly 1,000 doors. And I've spoken with almost 600 of your citizens across Flint Township in their front yards, the garages. Many of them invited me into their homes. It's been a tremendous pleasure listening to all of the residents. Here are the themes: crime, blight, taxes. The concerns of encroachment of crime and blight on the west side of Flint Township, and with regards to taxes, we talked a lot about the 8th District and the $23 million in county government taxes alone that left the 8th District. 11 million of that left Flint Township taxpayers' pocketbooks in 2023. It's estimated to exceed roughly 12.5 to 13 million based on the tax evaluation that's coming. So what are we going to do? Number one, my most important job as county commissioner with the millages that everybody pays is to keep services in the Out County, focusing on public safety and infrastructure. We're not going to shut the district courts down because it's convenient. The way in which the county interpreted that study was inappropriate. Second thing is investigate every single millage. Every single millage that every taxpayer here across the 8th District and county pays for, we're going to investigate wholly. It deserves a SWOT analysis and certainly deserves a more appropriate return on investment. The best that I can estimate based on my discussions with many of you, including Madam Supervisor, and talking with folks, is that the Flint Township maybe has seen roughly 5%. Now, I've made it very clear I don't expect dollar for dollar, penny for penny on taxes. I'm not anti-tax or an anti-millage. I am anti-inequitable distribution of your taxes. Third, we need a county manager that is apolitical. We need a county manager that can manage, I certainly more appropriately, the way in which this county is operating. Fourth, one of the biggest things that I have recently been contacted by dozens of citizens is the proposed mega site that is off of Maple and just south of your border. I find it interesting that the current incumbent is pushing for a mega site that he believes is going to bring in thousands of jobs and millions of tax dollars, and the rainbows are going to come out, the sun is going to shine, and everything's going to be perfect across Genesee County. Fact of the matter is that nobody has signed on any deal. We're going to tear out pristine land, and there's $250 million tax-paying dollars that's going to purchase an acre, or per acre. We're talking about $250,000 per acre signed on with nobody. Nobody knows who the developer is. It's all on the premise that the property is going to be developed. There is no doubt Genesee County needs development. I'm not against development. I'm for all the jobs that this county needs, but we cannot continue to go down this path that will damage the agriculture and also damage this county worse than it has. And I want to pursue that, but I want to pursue construction in the area of Genesee County that is viable and not taking out agriculture and pristine land that will kill this county.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Hi, my name is Beth Ann Bodker. I was here at the May 20th meeting, and it was my understanding at that meeting that the livestock ordinance was going to be tabled and revisited. I was not able to make the June 3rd visit or meeting because I was out of town, and I'm looking at the minutes and saying there's a final reading. I'm looking at today's minutes, there's a final reading on the livestock ordinance, and I don't understand how we went from May 20th to tabling it and revisiting it, revamping it, to now final readings. So that kind of disturbs me.
Is this
But
the second?
The second reading is always the final reading.
My understanding, though, was that May 20th, it was going to be revisited, and it doesn't appear that it's been revisited. It appears it's the exact same ordinance as prior to May 20th. And so I find it unfair that you're requiring me to have 10 acres to have a couple chickens, so.
That's not what it is, but.
Definitely, yeah.
My name is Gerald Roberts. Lived in this township for over 50 years. So last Friday, got through the Carmen Ainsworth Senior Center, little book, and it said Mr. Jasper Martis from the representative is going to be over here at the Senior Center. So a group of us that have been fighting this mega center that the gentleman is talking about over here with regard to our land and the agricultural and the damage that it's going to be doing to the environment, and the non-disclosure statements that Mundy Township people had just signed. In other words, not all of them signed it, but some of them did, with regard to taking the residents out of the loop with regard to talking to their particular trustees, was wrong. One of the gals that was running went down to the court house to try to file to get a FICA with regard to those particular deals. She got shut down because she didn't have a lawyer. She was probably going to have to pay for that particular lawyer because of this non-disclosure. And they were going to charge her for some of those papers over $500, an exorbitant amount. In other words, for FICA information with regard to it's free. In other words, to every particular township person or resident is there. Mr. Marcus was pro. Good thing, 8,000 jobs. No problem with regard to that particular site. He was there and doing all of this praising. He was one of Miss Richard Whitmer's soldiers. In other words, it was indoctrinated with regard to that. Also, Tim Herman is the one that got $250 million, in other words, to set that site. I found the section in Flint Township that they'd purchased that they were going to run from the railroad tracks over to that particular section, in other words. We're right on the edge of that. One of the people that were there at that particular meeting there was going to be offered 2.5 times if they sold their property, in other words. It's going to ruin that. Moorish School is gonna have to be moved. Church is gonna have to be moved. Whole bunch of stuff is gonna have to be moved. I asked Mr. Marcus, why didn't they use the Buick City site? Because when I was an auditor for General Motors, I audited environmental engineering, and they took all kinds of tough sites. And the reason that General Motors actually got out of it and they went bankrupt, in other words, so they could divest themselves with regard to that property because of the cleanup. What do you think if they put those factories over there afterwards, and they're long gone, and all of our wells are all destroyed? The whole property, in other words, the agricultural property is. They're wanting to put battery factories over there that's going to use millions of gallons of water, probably through the Kerrigan water system, in other words, through Mr. Jeff Wright. And then what happens after they get the water? It's going to be contaminated. Where's that water going? Is it going back out in the Great Lakes? Environmentally, it's not sound. The people, it's being pushed down their throats. And those $250 million are our tax dollars that the government has shifted in and got in the business. And they're building those factories for these Chinese companies to come over there. Chinese companies aren't. And one of those battery factories only has to have 96 people running that battery factory. If you've seen the advertisements, she's on saying the Biden automobile deal. These battery factories are great for the state of Michigan. Who do you think's pushing that? It's not for us. And you know what we got out of that? They really don't give a damn about the people and the residents. We are collateral damage. The end result is to put that factory out there. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Hi there. What this gentleman just spoke of, I was at that meeting with,
Can you please give us your name? for
I'm
the
sorry,
record, please?
Donald Ludwig. I live on
You don't have to
Maple
tell
Avenue.
us.
Well, I'll let
Thank
you know.
you.
I'm a Mundy
Thank you.
Township resident.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be one of the homes that are going to be impacted. From my understanding, I've been trying to get everybody on board to come here to the Flint Township side. Once I found out that Tim Herman and Tyler Ross Messler were interested in some property on your side there on Maple Avenue where the gravel pit is. So that land's been purchased from them probably within the last year and a half, I would say. This is a huge concern for everybody. Everybody in that area, the Mundy Township, the Flint Township side, they don't want a mega site. I don't know if there's anything that you guys can do before they release the $250 million to the Flint Genesee Economics, but I highly suggest you email the representatives of the House to tell them that you don't want this, because the money has not been released. Once they release the money, that's when they're going to come and try to buy my home. They've actually came to my house. They've called me 3 times to buy my house, and they've knocked at my door. So that's how serious this is going to take place. This will be the second time that this has happened to me when I was 12 years old. Our family was uprooted from Poletown with GM. My grandparents were the last ones to leave. They eminent domained them. 2004, they reversed the ruling in my grandparents' favor. So I'm just asking for any type of help for the residents, if you guys can do anything. I mean, if you don't believe me, knock on the doors around that area and they'll tell you they don't want it, so. And I'm all for development, but just not uprooting 165 homes and affecting the rest of the Flint Township side. Thanks for your time. Hope you understand. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Keith Powers. I got a couple things. One, the 911 call center wants to move. Do we have any buildings that we could offer them? They need a bigger space, and we've got plenty of buildings, I believe, that they could, instead of building a new one somewhere else, let's use what we have. Also, a property I have for sale was cited for junk, refuse, trash, and that, but they didn't say what it was. There was nothing on it. It was just a generic letter. So we called Mark Showalter. He says, I can't remember. I'll have to come back by. Well, why wouldn't you write a note on there, or, take a picture and circle it and give it to us so we know what to do? Had all weekend to do it. Now, we called him, he got back with us, so he's either gonna get back today, he didn't, but tomorrow. Anyways, also about the chicken thing, why does only a few residents have to dictate to the many the code enforcement officer that was here says he estimates about 500 people have chickens. Okay? I'm saying, how many calls do they actually get on chickens? How many calls? I'm betting 10. 10 a month, okay? And that's probably from X amount of families. You know, you do like you do with any other issue. You let them know, give them a warning, and if it doesn't happen, you say, hey, you gotta get rid of the birds, period. Same as you do on any other code enforcement infraction. Easy peasy. But no, we gotta go through and get permits, now we gotta inspect people, we gotta do this and that, and they're already overworked, so why don't we just do it the easy way? You know, say, hey, you can have your chickens, if they get out, you get cited, you gotta get rid of them. Boom, done. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Hi, I'm Tom Gibbons. I've spoke to you three other times about chickens. I heard you're considering that again. I don't know how many other people have lived near chickens, but I have. And just wanted to, I played this before. It's not very loud, but well, it's not going to play for me today, but anyway. I watched the video. Mark from Code Enforcement, I consider him a friend of mine. He was saying that they have like 500 chickens, or families of chickens. I did a computation. Out of 32,000 people, that's 1.5%. Don't think that's a lot compared to the population. I agree with the gentleman here that it seems pretty easy. All of those people that have chickens knew that they were in violation when they got those chickens. So I don't feel sorry for knocking on their door and say, hey, you're disturbing the neighborhood. In my situation, a new neighbor after me living there 30 years moved in to, not bore you again, but they had some roosters, but they were disturbing me. I called 911 and they came out and said, yeah, I hear the chickens, and he didn't need to go look at them. So I have that knowledge. And hens, which is on my video here, hens are, all of this is published data that I can give you copies of, exceeds the noise violation of surrounding townships and Flint Township. So it's not only, and so sleep is important to people's physical and mental health. Kids need 8 hours of sleep. Mr. Klee is a educator. He understands the need for that. And the filth. I didn't say this before my 3 meetings, but let's just be honest. Chickens walk and poop. And it gets on the eggs, it gets on the chickens. Kids pet them. The CDC, the things that people are concerned about are disease, noise, odor, pest, and waste management. So flies are on these poop areas, and then they're going to fly in your house probably. I can't see your house value, somebody looking to want to buy a new house, it's going to probably reduce the house value, and might impact house values, for your taxes here also. So I urge you, for the life of Flint Township, which is like 45, 50 years, I think those trustees back then knew about chickens and knew the cities. Oh, this is very important. Let me do this before I run out. Detroit, Grand Rapids, Flint, they don't allow chickens, but Grand Rapids, what they do is something very good. When they allow permit, they submit for a permit, the township then sends out to the neighboring, the 4 neighboring, whoever, how many that is, neighbors, and they say, do you object to the chickens? If they object, they don't get the permit. So that's one way to address it. For instance, there is the 1.5 acres, that's not I have a person I can see from my front door, they have 3 acres. They're as close to that neighbor as any house is close to any other house. So you have all of these concerns, disease, salmonella it's increasing according to CDC in all 50 states. That is, so the noise, the salmonella, why do harm to our township as a trustee? I think, did my time run out yet?
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
and it doesn't want to turn off, so there we go.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Don't scream when I
No?
get back to it.
One last time. All right, if no one else wants to address the board, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to reports. Let's see here. I just wanted to mention that the county recycle day is scheduled for Tuesday, June 18th, tomorrow. They have 2 more scheduled for the summertime, Tuesday, July 16th, and Tuesday, August 20th. And you can go to our website, and we have a link on our website that takes you to their website. You have to sign up. There's still time. I'm not sure if tomorrow's is booked yet or not, but you can take a look. It shows items that they accept and items that they don't accept, but it's a great service to the community, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's all I have right now. Madam Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes, so for August 6th election, early voting will start July 27th here at the township from 8 to 5. And also we have and AV ballots will be available June 27th for all our absent voters. I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Treasurer, do you have a report for us this evening?
Yes, I do. I'd like to pass this. I mentioned this a couple of times. I have some documentation for all of us. If you'll pass one of these sheets down, pass one of these down, Monty, to everyone, or pass the whole pile down.
Still can't hear you.
Can you pull your microphone
about that.
closer, please?
Usually I'm one you can hear, no problem, but we'll see about that. And I'll step over here.
Send your request in to get.
What's that?
I didn't hear.
Okay, if you'll address what I have as an investment update as of today's date. Dort Financial Credit Union, year to date, if you'll look at that, we invested back in December of '23, invests of $250,000 at an interest rate of 5.75. Currently, at this point, effective the May 31, 2024 on this, we have generated $7,003.37 in interest based on the fact that it's earning at 5.75. The next one down is the Huntington Financial. We have CDs at Huntington. We have 5 of them that have been there for a number of years at 0.01% interest. I was able to roll those last August, and between August and December of '23, December 31st, we generated, again, those were in the 0 point interest rates. We're at 4.27, and we're generated $16,000 in interest from August till now, till December. And the interest for '24, at this point, additional interest that they will generate will be close to $47,000 for a 12-month period ending July 31st of 47. The $47,000 added to the 16 will give us $63,869.37 in interest that we had not had and would not have had we not rolled them at a much higher and substantial rate. Currently, Mr. McIntyre, Kevin, and I are investing in what's called a sweep account. A sweep account is an active moving dollar account where we take dollars that are sitting in both our general fund and in our sewer and water emergency fund, and what Chase will do is they will take the dollars out at 8 o'clock at night. They'll be investing them with a lot of other corporations and businesses with their dollars. It's all protected, and at 8 a.m., 7:59 in the morning, it gets put back into our Chase accounts. They do 4 things on this. We can't do anything until, 1, we actively access the paperwork and commit to it. We have committed to it. 2, we have to give them a dollar amount that we would be looking at. And we're looking at about $8 million, taking a little bit out of the general fund, holding that's there so it doesn't impact the day-to-day operation of the township. And then in the sewer and water emergency fund, rather than just let it sit there, take about $4 million out of that as well. That interest earning rate is at only it's actually at 4.675, but it'll net out at 4.65. There is a 0.25% fee to allow them to do this. The estimated interest for the one-year period at $8 million for the township, when this is enacted here by the end of this month, it will be approximately $372,000 in interest through the Chase pools. So these are all in place, these are active, these are working, and these are helping to knock some of that deficit down. So with that, you can see almost $400,000 in interest, maybe a little more. There are Mr. McIntyre and I have a couple other things we're working on, but right now they're not finalized. We still have to dot some i's and cross some t's. That's my report. I still have to pay some bills.
Can I quick ask the percentage, the interest rate on the new interest for this right here, Tom?
For Huntington,
Yeah.
it
was
is
4.27. You said there's a new one?
It's at 4.27. They haven't given us the new rate on the lower part. The 47,000 is based on the 4.27.
Okay.
It could fluctuate if we go up, but it should not drop below 4.27.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Question?
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, while I appreciate this, I wish we had gotten it prior to the meeting, so I could have looked over it a little bit better. And also, we do not have an accounting of the money spent on the assessment, which should have probably been included in this, correct? We still don't have that.
Are you referring to the monies that
The
were
money that was
used?
spent trying to get an assessment.
You can check with the clerk's office. There have been 2 FOIAs for that. It's all there. I walked right in there and got it
I'm
handed
asking
right
you,
to me.
the treasurer, for months now to give accounting for the board, each member, so that's all. And also, the sweep account, that was started in January, is that correct?
No, we are working on putting that sweep account in place. We have to get the right amount, the right numbers in place. Chase has to look at what our numbers are. They then set what's called a PIN, which assesses our amount of money that we have.
I know how it
Avail-
works.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I was under the impression it started in January.
No, we have not been
and
able to
then
get it
it
running.
lapsed. Okay.
Nope, have not had it running yet.
Alrighty. Are there any trustee reports?
We need to do a motion to accept financial report in the record for the auditors.
Would you like to make the motion, Tom?
I move that you accept the financial report as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of receiving the report signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Did I say proposed? I meant opposed. Thanks.
Propose?
No, so it's unanimous, right? All right. So we move on to trustee reports. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
No problem.
Anything on this end? Trustee Vert?
Got a couple things. We had a cleanup on Dutcher Road, a week ago Saturday, and, we had 30-plus bags of garbage. We had 16 volunteers, and some were new. It was nice to see new faces. And we did clean out a lot of the catch basins on this time out, and, so it was good. It was good to see a lot of new people. We had a younger guy out, and that went really well. The next one is July 13th. Place to be determined. Okay. Also, at the senior center on June 25th, which is next Tuesday, I believe, from 9 to 11, there's going to be, it's called Community Connections, and there's going to be, it's going to be hosted by Dale Wayhill. Again, 9 to 11, June 25th, and there's going to be a lot of things there for seniors about veteran services, senior services, county parks, etc. So, I hope you can all go next Tuesday, okay?
Thank you.
Everybody hear that? That's it.
Do you have a report this evening, Carol? Great. This way? Mr. Leverett?
Well, I'd like to make a comment on, can everybody hear me? But we got those signs. I know everybody heard me talk about the signs that we were going to have put up in the township, and that was no more littering. And unfortunately, we had to tag the information onto that as there's going to be a fine imposed. So we recommend that everybody pay attention to that. And if they get the picture, let's pass it on to one another. Everybody in the township or whatever coming in or out. We don't have all of them put up yet, but I'm still looking at the map I'm yet doing some mapping for the township. So we were successful at getting about 3 or 4 of them put up in some strategic points of the township. So it's looking good. Let's just pay attention to it. It'll work for us, I think. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So before we move on to staff reports, I forgot to mention that our next meeting is going to be July 15th, so we won't be here in the beginning of July. And trash pickup is delayed whenever there's a major holiday, and the 4th of July is one of those days. So because of the 4th of July, the trash pickup will be on Friday rather than Thursday. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report this evening?
I gave all the trustees a written report. This is basically what's happened in the last year. From June of last year was when we did a report for the EDC. Just a few highlights of some newer things going on. Appliances for Less is doing a ribbon cutting tomorrow. They're in the old Krispy Kreme building. It's at 11:30 a.m. if anybody would like to attend. We're also working on several projects. The Quick Stop there at Bristol and Linden. There's a gas station at Bristol and Miller. Universal Logistics is remodeled the old Sorensen Gross building on Torrey. That's still a project in the making because they have a larger part of the project that's going on. The Orchard Grove Mixed Use Project on Flushing Road, that did receive their Eagle grant. I know that Eagle is sending the loan, the grant acceptance letter to Ms. Miller to sign, so we can move forward with that. We have the e-commerce center, 100,000 square feet on Linden Creek Parkway. Genesee Health Systems has moved into Baker and they're remodeling. We have Printcom is expanding. McLaren Hospitality House has done a parking expansion. We have the Starbucks new build. And then we're working with U-Haul. They're looking at doing another building that has been approved in site plan, but we're just waiting on construction plans to be approved, as well as some warehousing condos on Elms Road. Some of the other projects that we have going right now include the Bristol Road CIA has approved their facade and paving grant program. If anybody has business in the Beecher Road area between the Hospitality House and Graham Road, they did approve $2,000 grants for businesses there to help with any exterior projects that they have for improvements. Also, the Bristol Road CIA has approved a similar grant, again for signage, facade, sidewalks, paving. And their grant is actually $5,000, up to $5,000 per business. So we've also, the DDA is also working on the ramp mowing and maintenance, the island and trail maintenance. They started a pilot program on that to see if we can get those in good shape. We also are going to be doing some landscaping bids for around the signs. We have the new sign going up on Miller Road. We've refurbished the sign that was on Miller Road, and that will be placed on Corona Road as soon as we get the landscaping issues taken care of. All three economic development authorities have approved decorations again for this year, so those will be up again. And they also voted to restart the Discover Flint Township radio program. The first show was this past Sunday. That should be up on our podcast this week, along with on our YouTube channel. and it aired this past Sunday. Our next show will be July 14th, so.
A question was raised during public comment about 911, looking at any of our available empty buildings. Do you have any comment on that?
We did send them some addresses to look at along empty properties and some empty facilities, but we haven't heard anything more back from
I
them.
know they looked at 2 so far. I don't know too
Right,
much
but
what they are. but-
yeah, and, we did, we'll work with them as much as possible, but, we did send them some properties that were available and some buildings that would fit their needs, so. I haven't, had a chance to talk to Tim again, I should reach out to him, maybe I'll do that this week as well.
Thank you. Chief Wangler.
Thank you.
Got it right.
Since the last board meeting, the police department's responded to over 1,400 calls for service, so we're averaging right around 100 calls a day. The summer months are definitely here. On June 5th, police department responded to a quadruple shooting in the Roof Array Apartments. All the victims went in their personal vehicles, 2 to McLaren, 2 to Hurley. At each location, a victim was admitted for surgery. Our investigators went there, determined through this muddy story that allegedly they both felt that they were being robbed and they engaged in a gun battle. So charges are pending at the prosecutor's office regarding these individuals. They are all expected to survive their injuries. Coincidentally, while we're at Hurley with this investigation, we had a 3-month-old child that was brought in with signs of an overdose. We investigated the child's father. We did a search of his home and recovered heroin as well as a handgun. This case was presented to the prosecutor's office, and he was charged with 6 felonies to include second-degree child abuse, possession of a controlled substance, possession of a weapon and ammunition by a felon, felony firearm, and he is also a habitual offender. On June 14th, the officers responded to Walmart for retail fraud in progress. We actually located the vehicle in the parking lot, arrested 2 Detroit residents who were stealing 7.5 cartloads of energy drinks, to which they sell to various stores in the county. So the investigation is ongoing with multiple agencies. On June 15th, unfortunately, we responded to a 2-year-old child that was struck by a car in front of Cameron Ainsworth High School. The driver of the vehicle actually made a very proper of trying to avoid this child. Unfortunately, did strike the child, was taken to the hospital, was initially listed in critical condition. The roadway was shut down for some time, but she has since improved and expected to fully recover.
Wonderful.
We were assisted on that by the state police. So again, Linden Road was closed for a few hours. On June 16th, we responded to a welfare check of a man that was passed out behind the wheel of his vehicle. Upon approaching it, noticed that he was sitting on a loaded handgun. Was taken into custody, also located 2 rifles, a handgun, prescription pills, and approximately 200 grams of narcotics. And as everyone is aware, Kevin Salter, his retirement will be effective June 30th of this month. And I have 1 item for the agenda.
Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department's responded to 61 incidents. This is about a 4 call per day average. This number includes 7 structure fire calls, 2 vehicle fires, and 1 vehicle accident with entrapment. Right now, year to date, we are at 676 calls for service, which is 123 ahead of where we were this date last year. A couple of the highlights on the 6th, we responded to a commercial structure fire, 5300 block at Timberwood Point at the Riverwood Apartments. Luckily, this was just a cooking fire that was out upon our arrival. However, 1 occupant did jump off of a balcony and suffered what appeared to be a broken ankle. He was transported by EMS, but luckily there was no damage to the apartments. On the 11th, we responded to another structure fire call in the 2400 block of Tandy. We arrived to find smoke inside of a home and found a surge protector that had multiple chargers plugged into it on fire in the bedroom. Luckily, this fire was kept very, very small, but just as a reminder, surge protectors can be very dangerous. They're not designed to have multiple chargers and things like that plugged into them. If you're not using your chargers, please unplug them. There are a lot of fires caused by those devices, so just please be safe there. Probably the biggest highlight in the last 2 weeks, on the 16th, we responded to a commercial structure fire in the 3500 block of Southgate Drive. Our first fire truck arrived on scene, began to size up, found heavy smoke coming from the eaves of this 6-unit apartment building and fire coming from the roof. With the assistance of our police department, they began evacuating apartments. Most of the apartments were evacuated, and it was noticed that nobody came out of one of the apartments. Our firefighter on scene was met up by one of our on-call firefighters and made entry into the apartment to begin searching. Within just a minute or two, they located an unresponsive victim in the apartment, immediately removed her, and with the assistance of a few more firefighters, got her in care of EMS on scene. At last check, she remains in critical condition at the hospital. We were assisted on this incident by Flint City, the City of Burton, Swartz Creek, Mount Morris, Mundy Township, and Flushing Fire Departments. During this incident, Mount Morris Township did cover another call within our community that we did not have anyone available to respond to. So just want to say thank you to all of our mutual aid partners and our police department. Truly a team effort on some of these incidents, and we are obviously hoping for the recovery of this victim in this incident. Just as a note, this is the 4th victim that has been removed from a structure fire in Flint Township within about the last 10 to 12 months. This is a much higher number than we are used to seeing. So just want to remind everyone, please be safe in your homes. The number of fires, the severity of these fires are increasing in our community. I just want to make sure everyone is working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in their homes. If you need help or you don't have them, please contact the fire department. We do have programs available to help you get those. We'll actually come out and install them in your home free of charge also. So if you need help, please give us a call. Just as an update, I did talk to Genesee County Water and Waste, who we have an agreement with to maintain our fire hydrants in the township. They are working on this year's a painting program. Last year they painted about 20% of the hydrants. This year they're working on about another 20%, and they're focusing on the area south of Corona Road, west of Linden Road this year is their goal. Depending on the weather and timelines, they're hopeful to continue after that area is completed, but they're on about a 4 to 5 year rotation right now is their plan. If you notice any hydrants that are open, they do start to flow hydrants during the summer months to remove contaminants and sediment, those kind of things from the water mains. If you ever have a question, you can give us a call at the fire department. We will check into it. But if you look for a white van, typically the county will be in the area working on those. And we have no items on the agenda this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to thank both Chief Wangler and Chief Beckley for attending the Juvenile Justice Center ribbon cutting and grand opening. That was a project that took a long time. It was started in 2020, and of course it got delayed because of COVID and then also the supply chain. But it was pretty impressive to see that building and to hear the history of the old building being 100 years old and then this new building. I didn't go on the tour, but I wanted to say thank you for being present there. It was very important, and that's what did they say? It's setting the trend, and it's a leader in not only the state of Michigan for rehabilitation and juvenile justice, but the nation, they said. So thank you for being there. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
I see that John Whiteside's not here, and I just quickly wanted to give updates on some of the road projects. The Flagstone reconstruction project, the SAD, it resumed. It should be done here. Mary Beth lives in that. Shortly after the 4th of July. There'll still be issues with restoration, such as the grass and stuff like that, but I know they finished, was it Flagstone? They have Boulder left to do. That's your street, right? So I know would be the last one that they're doing. So on June 24th, the township's due to have street sweeping. So I'm going to ask any resident if you would take a peek at your gutters and let us know at the township if they've done your street. Last year, the same company did this. They're hired by the road commission, and there was a lot of complaints. So they have set some quality standards, and the Swartz Creek garage foreman or someone from there is supposed to follow them on given days. But I know some of the streets last year were done well, and some I don't think got done. So I'm just trying to keep a good eye on that because it's important to get that out of the road. Let's see, we're doing that pilot program with the Permazyme in, I think they call it the Bronx area. Last year, we did some limestone addition to the roads Tuxedo, Ronald, DeCamp, Hull, and Boyne. The Permazyme treatment is going to be applied July 15th. It's a Monday. And we'll see how well that holds up. It's been chlorided, and they'll add this to it. It should prevent potholes on those dirt roads. So if that works well down there, we'll look at applying it to other roads in the township, dirt roads in the township. Trotwood is one of the roads that's going to be done this year. It's going to be mill and paved, and that was approved last year. I'm sorry, I said Trotwood, right? Scottwood, we also asked the board to approve. Our board did. It's going to the Genesee County Road Commission Board to be approved tomorrow. Those projects will start after mid-July. So just want to give you a quick update there. Number 8 is the payment of bills, Mr. Treasurer.
Oh, sorry. All of you should have received in front of you and in the packet. Trustees, we have invoices in the amount of $1,445,700.34. With that, as authorized by the board's policy, we also have an additional tax distribution of a mere $54.30 for a total of $1,445,754.64 in invoices and tax disbursements. This includes $1,157,465.11 in payments to the Genesee County Drain Commission. My motion is that you would accept and make that recommendation, please.
So we have a motion to pay the bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Treasurer? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, for the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,445,700.34.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Favdal?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Treasurer Glee?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Did I miss anybody? Thank you.
So under correspondence and informational items, we have a letter that was sent to me. I distributed it to the board. Well, the clerk did, thank you. Genesee County municipalities were to be audited by the State Tax Commission. And I'm pleased to report that based on the findings of the audit, our local unit is given the designation of substantially compliant. And they wish to congratulate our local unit on receiving a perfect score on the review, and thank you for our cooperation through this project. So you have that letter in your packet. We move on to new business. Action item A. So I just want, hold on. Please, 1 second. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what we were looking at on this ordinance. This ordinance, the first reading said 6 chickens, and this one says 4. And I think we want to stick with 6, correct? At least that was my understanding.
Per parcel, right?
Per parcel. Here this says per acre. But it was brought to our attention that some people may misconstrue or misunderstand and say, well, per acre, we can have 6 chickens per acre, so if I have 5 acres, I can have 30 chicken. But that's per parcel, so it'd be 6 chickens per parcel with a minimum of 1.5 acres of your parcels. So that was what we were looking at last time. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that you have to have at least 1.5 acres to have chickens, no roosters, and you can't have it in neighborhoods within a proprietary or assessor's plat. So that's the ordinance before us, and I know that there's been some talk, and are we moving forward on this, board?
I'd like to move that we table this for additional information. We've got some other things. We've got people that have offered some conversation. I've had some conversation with folks in the audience in the past week. I'm not ready to vote on it this evening. That's my feeling.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
There's no discussion on postponing. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk, on postponing this last reading and vote on the chicken ordinance.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Treasurer Clee,
Yes.
Trustee Leverett,
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
No.
Trustee Fabdaw,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes, and Trustee Burt.
No.
Alrighty, away it goes. And when are we bringing that back?
They do some
2025.
studying.
Gotta do some work. We'll have to do some work on it.
Is it coming back? You know, it'd be appropriate to bring it back, but we've got several weeks. Our next meeting's July
That's right.
15th.
So that would give us some time to talk to council and some other things that have been brought up. So yes, ma'am, that's probably make it right in time.
So we'll bring it back to the July 15th meeting? Alrighty.
Talk to the attorneys again?
She's already spoken to him. We're waiting on something to come back from him. It hasn't been finalized.
He's fine with it.
There's other conversation going on.
It's fine. If you want to look into it more, board just voted to postpone it.
Yep, so that's where we are.
We'll bring it back July 15th.
Thank you.
We move on to action item B. Did you want to give an introduction, Chief Wengler?
I would. As I stated before, Kevin Salter's retirement effective June 30, 2024. Therefore, as of July 1, 2024, the police department will have 36 sworn officers on staff due to this retirement. The police department has an authorized budgeted strength of 37 officers for 2024. Shane Conkle has applied to our department and received a conditional offer of employment. He has satisfied all the conditions of this offer, including undergoing an extensive background investigation completed by Lieutenant Van Lente and Detective Sergeant Cassidy. He's also undergone a physical examination and a psychological examination, both of which he successfully completed. In addition, he is currently a certifiable police officer, having graduated from the Detroit Police Department Academy in 2020, and most recently serving with the Waterford Township Police Department. He is a graduate of Saginaw and Nevada Catholic Central High School. He holds his bachelor's degree from Central Michigan and his master's degree from Southern New Hampshire University. Mr. Conkle is also a resident of Flint Township. I would ask the board to approve the hiring of Shane Conkle with a starting pay at the 4th step, as outlined in the POAM union contract, to fill this open budgeted position due to the retirement I previously spoke of. He will have a start date of July 8th, 2024, where he will begin his in-house training at the police department.
You said July 8th?
July 8th, correct.
Thank you. A motion is in order to move forward?
I'll make a motion to move forward.
We would second that.
Is there any discussion or questions for Chief Wengler?
Second.
Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the hiring of Shane Conkle at the 4th step in the pay wage scale effective July 8th.
Trustee Leverett,
Pardon me?
Are you voting yes?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Treasurer Clee,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes, Trustee Burt,
Yes.
and Trustee Fabdaw.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Action item C is a 2024 summer tax roll special assessment certification. You have before you the resolution to certify and lien the total amounts for delinquent sewer and water usage in the amount of $443,099.30. A motion is in order to move forward to certify to the tax roll.
We would move to accept the resolution as presented and certify the amount presented of $443,099.30 to the tax roll.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Support. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you very much. Action item D is the Michigan Township Association dues. The dues for Flint Township, where is it, are listed at $7,764.14. And that, well, we could pay the annual dues of $7,538, but the legal defense contribution is an additional $226.14. Would someone like to make a motion to pay the dues?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the Michigan Township Association dues for Flint Township. Thank you.
Any questions or discussion? No discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please. To pay the MTA dues in the amount of $7,764.14.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Clerk Trupley, yes. Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Thank you.
That motion passes. Action item E is personnel issue. You have before you, let me get to it. Contract for our new police chief. It's been reviewed by both our labor attorney and by the new police chief. And it's before you for us to move forward and accept tonight, if that's what the board wants to do. So a motion is in order to move forward.
Motion to approve the employment contract for Chief Brad Wengler as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on approving the employment agreement between the Charter Township of Flint and Brad Wengler, effective, what's the effective date? When you swore him in? No, when we approved it, which would be 2 weeks ago.
When we approved his.
June 17th, wasn't it?
No, that's
Oh,
that's
sorry.
today.
Yep. It'd be the 3rd, June 3rd.
Is it the 3rd?
Yep.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Leverett?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you. Action item F, Mrs. Tucker.
This is for the remainder of the properties other than the one large parcel that we have. This is the remainder of the lots, I guess I should say, in River Forest, that the township owns. Flat Rock has made an offer at $1,000 per parcel, which pretty much matches what they offered us on the last batch that they bought. They're looking at using some of these parcels for housing for their employees that will be working at the facilities, and also some other housing. So they would be sold just like we did with the others on an as-is deed, and that's what we have.
And I need a motion to move forward, please.
Motion. Or with selling of these properties as they are listed.
20. Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion?
Will they, I'm gonna ask a couple questions, and you mentioned the resident housing and the other housing, which I know we had conversation about. Do we have any, I don't wanna say control, okay, I'm not gonna say control. Do we have any, understanding of it's the other housing that will be made available? I know there's, looking at the facility that way they wanna put, right? And then the employees may work and there and live in some of these. Who are the other housing? Do we have any stipulations on that in the building department and any of that?
No, I mean, they'll have to go through site plan just like anybody else would. Since it's not single family, if they do any single family residential housing, that would not require site plan, but anything they do beyond that would require site plan. And I think they're doing it as an overall project, so they'll probably do a PUD, which is a longer process than just site plan review, where there'll be notifications made, things like that. And there's also some issues, some of the property, has floodplain areas they're gonna have to worry about, so it's not straightforward that all of these properties are useful
buildable.
for what they're doing, so how they're managing it through their site plan looks pretty good from what I've seen. Just, they've given us some, speculative drawings, but nothing permanent yet. I mean, first of all, they needed to make sure they could even buy the properties before they moved ahead with anything, so,
Thank you.
yep.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the sale of the properties listed on, in River Forest. There's 29 properties at $1,000 per parcel, for a total of $29,000.
Trustee Burt,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Favdon,
Yes.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Treasurer Klee,
Yes.
Trustee Leverett,
Yes.
and Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Action item G. I've been approached by a young lady who'd like to do a farmer's market, and she'd like to use our township parking lot. It's a nice surface for them to use on a Friday or Saturday. I don't think she's made that clear. I think she's in the planning process also, but we've cleared it with our liability insurance. We have hold harmless forms to be signed. I wanted to get approval from this board that they are okay with the parking lot being used on a day when we're closed for a farmer's market out here. And they would have to do what we do when we do any other type of event. They'd have to get the inspections to make sure it's safe with police, fire department, mostly fire department and building department. So I'm asking the board to give their approval to allow for a farmer's market to be in our parking lot on the days that we're closed. And I think that's only one day that they're looking at per week. And I don't know if it's every week or if it's gonna be once a month, but it's not gonna be often.
That's gonna be on Friday. You said when it's closed.
When we're closed,
Okay.
they'd like to use our parking lot.
That's on Friday.
Either a Friday or a Saturday. And part of the agreement would be that they have to, when they're done, it all has to be returned to the condition in which they found it.
Will we know in advance? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we also had in the motion that just the, example I gave was a clean deposit of $100 and a usage, electrical usage charge of $20 per vendor. So if they have 3 vendors that wanna use electrical, I don't necessarily think they'll even be using electrical, but they might need it for if they're gonna have some type of, setup for their, internet and that kind of stuff. I don't know what they're gonna be doing, so, so you might wanna look at that. If you're gonna do the $100 and the 20, you just gotta make sure you make that part of your motion. And we would also, and you're gonna have them do an event permit, it sounds like, so
Yeah.
that makes it easy for the building department to know that.
An
And
event
then
permit.
the only thing would be during, if they're trying to do something during the early voting, we just have to make sure that they're not using the front section, this front section during that time. So, not a big deal, we just have to, and it might bring people out to vote during the early voting to have something in the parking lot, so.
Or the early voting might bring customers.
Right, exactly, exactly.
A couple of things. One is I'm glad that there's gonna be a permit and the waiver sign, but also we have employees sometimes that work on Fridays. And I think they need to be told where to set up and where
Sure.
you're gonna drive, so people aren't all over the place. There should be certain areas that is for parking only and for the vendor, or whatever they're gonna do.
I agree. The
And it's-
vendors should be at the back by the grass, I would think,
Correct.
even if they're in the grass, maybe.
One of the other things, and Chief and I were talking about at Beckley, is Reuben Street needs to remain open, so at some point, they'll have to have some kind of a direction from the chief and his crew on, because Reuben, if customers came and were parking up and down Reuben, let's hope it goes crazy. Let's hope there's 200 cars. But if there are, where are they gonna park?
There's no place to park. If there's,
Exactly.
you know,
Right.
Yeah, and that type of thing.
Issue we would have to address.
And I
If it
think they should
becomes
have
an
a set
issue, there's
schedule.
parking
I
across
think we
the
should
road.
know that they're here every Saturday or
Yep,
once
we'll
a
know.
month on Saturday. I think all that needs to be cleared up.
Monitoring the lot, security.
So would someone like to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that it be secured properly, and as it was read, all of it applies to this motion that we're making. Okay.
So for the township parking lot to be used for a farmer's market this summer with a cleaning deposit of $100, an electrical usage charge of $20 and applying for an event permit, which includes making, the fire department's gonna make sure that they've got electrical that, in the building permit. And, it's safe with traffic and stuff like that. So, that's your motion?
Right, well, yeah, that's my motion, but the building, codes, is by the,
Police-
chief, right?
It's building department, fire department. And our, event permits go to the police department too, but they don't get involved a whole bunch, do you? No, I didn't think so.
It's
Mostly,
informational.
mostly building and fire.
Fire chief. Yeah.
Alrighty, so we.
Alright.
Thank you, you can. Thank you very much. Any questions or discussion on this?
Just hope everything's covered and listed, and that we're clear on what's expected of them.
We'll get that together. I mean, we rent out the pavilion, and I don't think that that's caused any problems since we've done that. Well, the fire department's right there, so, alrighty. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That's unanimous. Action item H is to amend the fee schedule. So this comes from the finance director. He's asking us to update the fee schedule to reflect a $350 fee when requesting a copy of the entire tax or assessing database, and add a duplicate copy fee of $2 for reprints of bills or receipts. Would someone like to make that motion?
We would move to accept
Second it.
the finance director's recommendation of the fee of $350 for the full tax assessment printout database, and also the addition of a $2 duplication fee for any reprinted bills and receipts while at the door when you're trying to pay your bill.
So I just want to clarify, it's tax or assessing,
Correct.
okay?
Yep.
We got a second here. Any questions or discussion?
Now, what was the previous fee? What did this go up
We
to?
weren't charged.
We didn't charge,
Nothing?
nothing.
Wow, okay.
So we got conversation with the county, and I said, some departments are doing 700, 200, they're all over the board, so.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the $350 fee for a copy of the tax or assessing database, or a $2 copy fee for reprints of bills or receipts, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. Our next meeting is scheduled for July 15th. And if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.